in the Bible, go back to a story that you probably may have heard mentioned at Easter time. That's about the time you usually hear this talked about, a month or so ago, where Jesus was having his last hangout, his last final supper, Last Supper as it's known as, with his friends, with his followers and his buddies. And above all else, he wanted them to know one thing from that whole dinner that night. They were together for hours. But he wanted them to walk away with one thing and hear one statement above all else. And that statement was, or that idea was, that they love one another. In John 13, it says, this is what Jesus says, love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. In fact, it's by this that people will know that you're my followers if you love one another. That last part was from the RJP, Rob Jacobs paraphrase. But above all else, love each other, okay? That's the main point. Listen, the Christian faith is pretty simple. It's simple enough for a child. It's not always simple to live out, but it's simplistic in its nature, and it really boils down to two words. You could boil down the whole gospel, the whole message of the Bible into two words: loving and serving. Loving and serving. Loving God and serving your brother. So, with that said, don't give love a bad name. Don't give love a bad name. Don't give Christians, don't give God's kingdom a bad name by the way that you act, by the way that you speak, by the way that you live your life. Have you ever heard of what we call in church world ENC Christians? Anybody know what that stands for? What's it stand for? Easter and Christmas Christians. Absolutely, yep. In church world, we call it ENC Christians, right? You know, that's the 2 times they show up for church. God bless their pointy little heads. It's fantastic. Good for them, you know. But they're there 2 times a year, and that's great. However, in fact, I was talking with a good friend of mine, Catholic buddy of mine, just last week or the week before, and he was talking about, he was so proud to share how they had been together at Easter and that his son prayed for their meal, which is really cool. But then he added that, kind of parenthetically, he said, we try to throw a blessing down on Christmas and Easter every year. And he was pretty proud of that, like, those two prayers should cover me, for the rest of the year. That was about to do it. In a similar way, not just ENC Christians, as we call them, in a similar way, don't be a Wednesday night and Sunday morning Christian, okay? Don't be a Wednesday night and Sunday morning Christian. Don't put on the church face that a lot of y'all know how to put on when you come in here on a Wednesday night at youth group, and when you come to church, if you do, on a Sunday morning, and then go out every other day of the week and live like hell. Don't do that. When you do that, you understand that you do more damage to the name of Jesus and to the kingdom of God than you actually do good. Now, hear me. I'm not saying that anybody's perfect and people aren't going to mess up, but I'm talking about the way you generally live out your life. However, in contrast, when you start loving people, when you start serving them any day in everyday kind of normal ways, with no agenda, then people stand up and they take notice. That's where my line, preach the gospel every day, if necessary, what? Use words. That's where that line comes from. That's the idea of that. That's when they see that your faith is real. That's when they see that your faith is passionate. That's when they see that your faith is authentic. One of my favorite chapters in the Bible is Romans chapter 12. It is just chock full of stuff all the way from verse 1 to verse 21. It's an incredible chapter, so much good stuff. And so for you guys who know me, know I'm a very straightforward, simple guy, not very complex, a real guy. What you see is what you get, I'm a very practical guy as well. Put the cookies on the bottom shelf for me. Make it where I can understand and I can apply it, to my life and run with it. And that's exactly what this chapter in Romans 12 does. And I want you to check out on the screen, I think we have this list. There are 8 statements I summarized from Romans chapter 12. And I think they're incredible tonight. Let me read them for you real quickly about how to live the Christian life daily and practically. First, hate what is evil and cling to what is good. Honor one another above yourself. Keep your spiritual passion. Share with God's people who are in need. Live in harmony with each other. Do what is right. Live at peace with everyone. and overcome evil with good. 8 very short, succinct, simple sentences, but there's a whole lot in those sentences, right? Is there one in there that really sticks out to you that feel is like really significant, really important? We're going to talk about that tonight when we go to groups a little bit later. But guys, this is practical Christianity 101 at its best. You want to track how you're doing in your growth with God, in your spiritual journey, those who have made a commitment to Christ, there's a list that you can bounce it off of right there. That's loving and serving at its best. And it's with one of the statements, one of my favorite verses stuck right in the middle there. As far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone, Romans 12:18. Listen, I've got some great friends of yours and some dear friends of mine who I have asked to come help me with the teaching time tonight and share some final words with you tonight, because these folks are soon also leaving to move across the country to some different places. And let me tell you, there are no greater examples of servants than these 3 that are coming right now onto the stage. Ashley and Kendall and Cameron, come on up here. And I like to honor them, and I like to thank them, and I like to give them an opportunity to say whatever God's laid on their heart to us tonight, all right?
Hello, hello. So Rob has asked us to give you guys some advice that you didn't ask for, but you're going to get. So I guess I'm starting, and I kind of summarized 3 key points that really mean a lot to me that I learned in my Christian faith. And a lot of you guys know I wasn't a Christian until I was 16, so I wish I would have known these when I was a lot younger. And a lot of these are going to be for you seniors too, so pay attention. The 3 points are over life, love, and happiness, and I'll try and make it short and sweet. So I want you guys to picture the kind of life that you want to live. So with those Romans 12 key points, do you want to live a life that is joyful, that is meaningful? Do you want to live a life where you're known or where you have purpose? Kind of envision like what you're thinking about. And I'm going to kind of give you some steps to get there. When Cameron and I moved out here, what I was focused on in that season was I wanted a godly marriage. We moved out here as newlyweds, and we both have everyone in our families divorced, and I knew that's not the path that I wanted to take. So I prayed and I asked God to surround us with godly marriages, with godly friends, and it's now, our life here is now a picture of that. The people that I work for have the best marriage that I could ever ask to look at. And the leaders that are surrounding you are some of the best godly people that we could have been in ministry with. And shout out to Rob and Jesse. They have some of the best marriages out there too. And so that was something that I looked at, that I envisioned, that I wanted, that I prayed for. And so I want you guys to do the same. As you're going off to college or you're going to the next grade, think about the friend that you want to be. Think about the friends that you want to have. Start becoming that now, because it doesn't just happen overnight. You don't just become a perfect wife overnight or a perfect friend. It's something that you have to work towards, and you're doing that right now. The person that you are going to become, you're becoming in this moment. When it comes to love, y'all have already heard me talk about this, so when it comes to making or having a lasting relationship, the key is not how much you love the person. Love is just an emotion, and it's not going to be everything that you can survive on. You have to find a person that is selfless, and you yourself have to be selfless. And Jesus was the perfect example of this. He gave his life for us, and the way that he loved the church and the way that he loved us is the way that, girls, your husband is supposed to love you. So find a man who's going to love you like that. And guys, you want to find someone that makes you want to be a better man, that cares for you with love and gentleness, and both of these figures are perfected in Christ. And the last point is happiness. So as you grow older, you'll find that everyone is searching for happiness. They're going to do that through spouses or relationships, and they're going to try to find happiness in their jobs or money or drugs. And you're going to see a lot of that in college too. People are always searching for the next thing that makes them happy. They're going to do whatever makes them feel good, right? But what I've found is that all of those things fade. None of it's going to keep you happy for very long. But what you'll find the most joy in, the most complete joy, is going to be in knowing your Creator and getting to know Him even better each day, and having a relationship with Him and being in communion with Him. And you can do this by coming to youth group and learning more about Him and opening your Bible and getting to know why He made us and why He created us, and then walking in that purpose. So those are the points I have for you. Oh. And I just want to say thank you to all of you guys. I'm not the only leader here, but all of us leaders love you guys so much, and we take so much out of our lives just to serve you guys, and it's all because we just love you guys for who you are and where you're at. And thank you, Rob and Jesse, for letting me be a part of your ministry.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Hey. So, a lot of y'all don't know me, and that's fine. I'm good with that. But I'm the 9th grade boys leader. I thought they were here. So, Kendall came prepared. I didn't. I'm kind of a wing it kind of guy. So, I'm just going to give you a few things that I thought of, kind of like in a big brother fashion, looking down on y'all as if y'all were my siblings. So, I'm going to just cap it at 3 things. Number 1, don't do stupid things. If you have to think about it twice, don't do it. I've done stupid things. I'm sure if y'all name something, I've done it. And I've learned from that, and I would rather y'all didn't have to learn from it. 2, surround yourself with good leaders. Your life group leaders, your pastors, your big brothers, your big sisters, your moms and dads. Make sure that y'all have someone to look up to that can kind of show you the ropes as you walk through life. And number 3, keep God close. Always turn to Him if you have questions. Sometimes it may seem like He's not there, but He's always listening, and He's always there to help you and guide you throughout whatever trials and tribulations y'all have. So that's it.
Hi guys. I love you. Hi guys. Okay. All right, Rob. Sorry, I'll keep it short. I love you guys. You guys know that. I know. I know. Stop. Okay. I am the 9th grade girls leader. Just Ann was the 10th grade girls leader last year. But what I wanted to talk with you guys about today was it's pretty simple. You can never go wrong being obedient to Jesus. Never. You're going to make a ton of decisions in life, and you won't always know whether or not they're good or bad. Sometimes you know they're bad right away, but you do them anyway. Don't do that. But for the most part, there's so many things we don't know in life. We do not know our futures. We don't know how our life is going to pan out, but you can never go wrong being obedient to whatever God has asked you to do. I mean, think about it. If God asked you to do something, do you really think that that's going to end up screwing up your whole life? No. It might make your life look differently, but I promise your life will always be richer for it. So above all else, always be obedient, because your life will be an adventure because of it. For me, serving in both middle school and high school, most people thought I was crazy for it. While being in med school, if some of you guys don't know, I will graduate in 2 weeks, and I'll be a doctor. Yeah, thanks, guys. But so many people think I'm like nuts. They're like, why would you be serving in 2 different ministries while also doing medical school and studying for tons of exams? But it was what God asked me to do, and my life is deeply enriched because of it. I read a quote the other day that said, you cannot become yourself by yourself. And that is the truest statement. I heard Pastor Levi Lesko say that. And it's true. By serving, by being with all of you, I have truly become who I feel like God has called me to be. And that's not going to change. But as I go on, there's no way I'm going to ever be able to even come close to forgetting any of you. And I love you guys so much.
Let's give it up for these guys again. Fantastic. Three of our finest leaders we've not just had this year, but over the 19 years that I've been here. No doubt about it. So I want to honor them and thank God for them and be praying for them. And we'll do that in just a moment as we close up here tonight. But as we close here tonight, before we go to groups, I want to just kind of this love serve theme, and Kendall touched on it as well, and what she said, all of them did to a degree. I want to ask you tonight this question as we close. When are you at your happiest? I know when I was your age, a lot of times when I was at my happiest was when I was with friends and just hanging out, and then maybe family came in there somewhere after that, honestly, at that season of life where you're at. Or maybe it was on Christmas morning or my birthday where all the attention's, on me and that sort of thing. And I know that that's true for a lot of us in our lives. And yet the older I get, the more I can legitimately say that I am most happy when the people around me that I love are happy. And when I'm able to just hang out with them or do something for them, that brings me even greater joy than the things that are, poured upon me. And I think that perspective's changed as, of course, I've gone through different seasons of life, but it's also changed in the relation to what, this Christian life is all about, and just loving and serving other people, because when you start to serve other people, you do develop a joy and an excitement for it that you can't quite put into words until you're there, until you've done it. And all of a sudden, it's like a different kind of a high that you have from helping somebody else that is even better than when you're gratified in something that you've been given or something that you've done for yourself. As my great friend here, Janet Morris at the church, says, it's a blessing to serve. And I've learned that from my own life. I've noticed that, I grew up in a Christian home and, chose to serve pretty much when it was convenient in my schedule. Just, didn't go out of my way or anything. But I remember when I was 17 and God really got a hold of my life and called me into just the realization that I wanted to serve him and serve other people in my life, that something changed in me, and into my college years that changed. And the motto of my college pastor that he said over and again stuck with me, that there are only two things that will last for all of eternity, God and people. So invest wisely. And it resonated with me that's true, that I shouldn't really worry so much about other material things or things that are going to be here for a while, for a season, and then pass away. But I really started to discover what that means to serve when I started traveling, having the opportunity to go to different parts of the world, and went to Mexico and went to South America and Europe and India and all these different places, and went to serve people. And we got to serve people, but got served. Not like you guys say you got served, but we got served by those people so much more than we ever gave to them. Their example of Christ-likeness, their example of contentment and sincerity just blew me away. It gave me a totally different perspective on what it looks like to really give of yourself and to help other people. And I also remember the life of a high school student in my youth group, now almost 25 years ago, back in Atlanta, whose name was Tony. And Tony was a little slow, and Tony things didn't come easy for Tony, but he had a heart of gold, and he loved God, and he served anybody that he was around, and that God gave him opportunity to. And I invested a lot of time and energy, with Tony, and having no idea that his life would be cut short unexpectedly one night after a youth group event at the age of 18. And the evaluation, the aftermath of that, his death, that truth just really sunk into me so much more at that point, to say, that the road of temporary comfort and pleasure and convenience and all the things that most of us, where we live most of the time, doesn't really compare to the fulfillment found when I reach out and I serve somebody else. The way I saw Tony serve, his example to me as a young person, the opportunity I had to serve him, and it changed me, and it made me grateful for every day and every opportunity that God puts in front of me to be able to serve other people. And so for a lot of us, it's a heart matter. It's something that has to kind of click, something that has to register with us, that we all of a sudden have this realization that life really isn't all about just us. It's not just all about me. I've actually been designed to find fulfillment in loving and serving other people more than loving and serving myself. And I say that as an old man to you guys tonight to say, man, if you got a hold of this now in your life and really lived like that now in your life, man, it's just unbelievable the kind of ways God would use you, the impact that you would have, and what you would see happen in your life, and even the satisfaction. Whether you have a lot of money, whether you have some of these other things that America calls success, you would be satisfied and fulfilled like no other if you just got out there and loved God and served other people. So don't give love a bad name. Love and serve people in the places that God's put you in every single day. Preach the gospel every day with your actions, by the way you live, and ask God to give you a heart to serve him and to love those that are around us tonight. God, tonight, I'm so grateful for everybody here in the sound of my voice and for the fact that you brought them here by your design, not by accident. Maybe there's some new students here tonight hearing this, and it's just kind of all something foreign or new to them. I pray, God, for that student as well as the one who's here every week, that these truths would sink deep into their heart, that you've called us here for two reasons: to love and to serve. To love you and to serve those that are around us. And you set the example for us. You said, Jesus, that you didn't come to be served, but to serve and to give your life as a ransom for many. And that's exactly what you did. And we're called to do the same thing and to give our lives to other people in the act of service. So I pray tonight that God, tonight, someone would be touched by not only the truths of what come from your word, but even the examples of people like Kendall and Cameron and Ashley who have served us so well over these years that they've been with us. I pray your prayer of blessing upon their lives as they move forward to the different places that you've called them next. And that, Lord, that we would just be grateful for those kinds of people that you bring into our lives to set the pace, set the example, and that we would follow them, their example, as we all follow you, Jesus. Help us to love and serve the way that you do.